Hey guys, Kevin from MixCoach. Today I'm going to explain to you my idea of how a compressor works. I get this question quite a bit, like, how does a compressor work? And while I could go into detail about ratios and attack times and knees and the difference in a tube compressor and a solid state compressor, a VCA, all that stuff is really just a means to an end, because what you really need to know about a compressor is what the purpose of it is. So let me tell you a story that I told at a college not too long ago about how a compressor works. I work with several producers who use orchestras. They record full orchestras. Now, I don't know if you know anything about orchestras or not, but they are very expensive to record. They're expensive to record, they're expensive to mix, and then when you go to mix a song, you want the orchestra, you want it to be heard as much as possible. Well, us rhythm section guys, we like to hear the drums and bass a lot. So the situation came along one day where I was mixing an orchestral song, and it was a live drum set underneath the orchestra song. And there was one part of the song where the snare was louder every time. It was like maybe the fourth bar of the bridge or whatever, but the snare drum, the drummer got excited and hit the drum a little louder or a little harder, so it was popping through the mix really good. Well, I noticed that every time that section would come, the arranger, the producer, would say, that snare is just still too loud. And, he didn't really take into account that through the rest of the song you could barely hear it. So what a compressor does is it helps you to avoid that situation where the snare drum is loud for one hit and it makes you sacrifice the rest of the time he hits the snare drum for that one hit. What a compressor does is it pulls down that one snare hit so that the rest of them you can pull the level up to where they should be. That's the simplest way that I know to explain what a compressor does. It decreases the dynamic range of a signal so that you can pull the level up. And when you've got a lot of instruments in one track and they're all jockeying for position between the speakers so that you can hear them, you want to make sure that you don't let one slip out of the gate just a little bit and then have someone ask you, even your ears, if you're not paying attention, your ears will tell you that's too loud. And sometimes what it is a dynamics problem. So in that situation, the best thing to do is to use a compressor or a limiter. Now, a limiter is just a more extreme version of a compressor. A compressor is kind of polite when it decreases the volume. A limiter is not very polite at all. It will just like chop you off at the knees. But anyway, that is the best way that I know to explain exactly what a compressor does. Now, from here on, you can figure out the ratios, and maybe perhaps we'll cover some of that a little later on, but ratios and threshold and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow.